Welcome back, pregame.tv. Driving into the studios today, 104 degrees, and I crank up the music. It's burning down the house. And this Miami Heat team, they might be burning down the house if they don't win this series. Here, Game 7, a lot to talk about. We're a little bit compromised because we're taping right as Game 6 is tipping off, but we're going to give it a shot with Game 7 anyways. Bryan Leonard, no close games in the series. Has it been a good series or bad series?
I don't know. I don't. As long as I'm covering my spreads, I don't care how the games go off. So
sure, good answer. I think it's kind of been interesting to me to actually watch. I've been very good with the sides, not as good with the totals so far. You know, with this game, I'm still losing by that half-point Game 2. It still chafes me that I had over 87.5, and now I'm staring at 191.5s, 192s, and somehow I didn't manage to get a Game 2 over 87.5 when historically Game 2 is the over game. I'm concerned here. Miami may be a little bit, the collar might be getting a little tight here in these games. What do you think? Yeah,
Miami came into the season, obviously, ever since they did the big signings, they expected to win 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 7. If they lose this one, they go.
LeBron really said that, didn't he?
He
not 1, not 3. We're going to win 7. Why not 9?
Yeah,
you know?
Well, he probably figures he's going to retire, multi-billionaire by then. But Miami's been a little bit disappointing. I don't think LeBron has taken over the games like he's had in the past. Kind of got into did radio today with RJ, and he's a big Wade fan. And even though Wade's scoring a lot of points, I don't think Wade's really playing that well.
For those who didn't go ahead and see on the radio, RJ was making a case for why. I said if Miami wins, LeBron is the MVP. He got every vote but one for the regular season for the MVP, and the guy who voted against him got ostracized, and they said, you're an idiot for doing that. Right. And so I would much rather lay it. This was before Game 6. I said it's much better to lay $1.10 on LeBron to win the MVP than to lay Miami. And I actually think there's about as good a chance that Miami could lose in 7 games. LeBron plays lights out the last two games, and he could get the MVP as a losing player. Now, that's so unlikely, but it's equally as likely as Wade getting the MVP, in my opinion. He's played 2 very nice games, Games 4 and 5. But I just can't believe that after 3 subpar games, 1, 2, and 3, and everyone throwing them, all these other players under the bus for Miami, they're suddenly going to give Wade the MVP.
I don't think LeBron's played well. I wouldn't give LeBron an MVP here.
He hasn't shot well.
Well, if he played this way during the regular season, would you have given him the MVP?
Well, I tell you, one guy that disagrees is Splitter, because after he goes up and gets rejected like he did, I mean, you got to look at
that's the only thing they're going to remember out of this.
You got to look at the blocks. You got to look at the assists. You got to look at the rebounds.
He had no rebounds and 1 assist at halftime in game. What was that, 5?
Yeah, but you look at his overall numbers, and he's at, he's expected to get 7 assists, 7 rebounds, and 28 points. As far as, and I know he's been trending more under than over, but still, you look at Wade, and we expect 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 17.5 points. So I mean, what a difference! You look at a 46 versus 25, and LeBron plays great defense, and Wade can't play defense a lick now.
And that's the problem with Miami, is they've only got certain guys they got to funnel to play good defense, and San Antonio, when they go small, Miami has to go small. So they take away their best defensive players, and they're not, Haslam can hit the jumper from the outside.
6 out of 7.
Well, that one game he did. Yeah. But then you got Birdman in there, and the only way he's going to score is underneath.
Where is the Birdman? No minutes? What's going on?
The bird's flown the coop lately.
He's won too many tattoos? Was there some kind of allergic reaction? Did he get another one?
It's just a matchup situation. And what has amazed me of the way this series has gone, we knew Pop was just a great coach. I think Miami's coaching staff has done a pretty good job when they've coming off a loss. I mean, they're 12-0 off of a loss now, and they're well publicized. RJ's gone out of his way to make that in the national news.
Sure.
But I thought Miami, they haven't made very good second-half adjustments, but the game-to-game adjustments, I think Miami's done a pretty good job.
One of my pet peeves, and although it's correct that RJ was saying 12-0, that the Heat have won after coming off a loss, but I always hate that. Well, there's 4,000 to 1 odds, against that. Well, I mean, they're. It's really 2,000 to 1 right off the bat, because the first game in a streak is a given. You got to flip the coin. It's going to be a head or a tail, and then the streak starts. But nevertheless, I'm not a big guy on trends. But this team really does have the on switch when they've really needed it bad enough, right?
And if you go back, and I tracked this with Oklahoma City when they were healthy, they were another team when they were off of a loss. they cover the spread the next game. Your elite teams do that. San Antonio's done it all year long. As long as it's a game that they're coming to play, and Popovich has rested a lot of their starters in certain games as the season has gone on. But when it's a game that they're coming out to make a statement and they're not hurt, they cover the spread off of a loss.
They may have taken a little bit to an extreme. I know they only won 58 games, Miami 66, but they certainly took nights off. I mean, I personally, I think it's a little bit excessive to be playing checkers on the sideline while the other guys are actually playing basketball. You might want to pretend to be into the game, but I know they had that one game where three of the players were MIA and didn't even travel to the city.
And that was San Antonio did that when they went to Miami, and then Miami returned the favor when they went to San Antonio.
It really was interesting, so you couldn't really learn a lot from those matchups. It's Game 7. You know me. You know where I'm going here with big games go under. I tend to go under in games. I need a reason not to play under in a case like that, especially when I got two super elite teams that want the game like blood. It's not like one team's like fat, drunk, and happy to be here. Spurs, no. Is this the last chance for the Spurs? What do you think?
Could be.
I think it's their last shot.
I mean, Ginobili, I haven't read where he's planning on retiring, but for him to come out and say in their last home game in the playoffs, I want to start in this game, I think that was a statement meaning that if I don't come back, this could be my last game. And he even talked to one of the sideline reporters about it. He says it's just getting to the point anymore. Just to be healthy enough to play is so much work. It's if he was to get hurt again, that he may not be able to come back again.
Yeah, and I just know the Spurs would love, both teams looking at dynasties here. Miami wants to start one, the Spurs want to end one, right? Such an enormous game. I got to go ahead and go under in this game.
I can't argue with you at this point.
Let's make it official. Game 7s go under. I don't care what has happened previously in the series. I don't care if a guy is making 8 out of every 10 three-point shots. The collar gets tight. The role players stop shooting. They start passing. Every possession counts. Even when the coach, even if Pop's yelling, push it, every possession's too important. The game's too important. The referees swallow their whistles. They don't want to be part of the game because they don't want to decide the game, and that results in games going under. We see this again and again. Even like with the Lakers, when they were playing Boston, they scored about 150 points in Game 7. Historically, it's been such a solid play. I got to go with history here. I'm going to go under in Game 7, under the 191.5. Of course, it'll get adjusted slightly based upon what happens in Game 6, but I think this is going to be a special, and maybe you want to hold back a little money, play second half under as well in this game.
Prefer the second half and just about all the time when these two get together, because if you've been watching them, the first half of these games are really high scoring.
Yeah, and then the only sweat is the overtime.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, very good. Pregame.tv. Stay with us. We're going to be breaking down the UNLV Bobby Hauck squad. Can they win 2.5 games? Can they win 6 games? Can Bobby keep his job? Stay with us. Pregame.tv.